Fabulous. This is Deb. This is Deborah Peach. Today is in the States. It's November 1st, Sunday, 2015, and it is in Australia, where half of our team is. It's Monday, November 2nd, 2015, and this is the third call in a back-to-back daily series that we put out from Wake Up Shift is Happening, the TV show. And the reason that we are doing the 3 days in a row is to anchor this global currency reset, to anchor and prioritize the vibrations of creation, the unified field, for this new earth reality, for these currencies being backed by gold, for us to realign the reality that really got shifted when JFK was assassinated, the gold-backed currencies that he was wanting to bring back online for humanity. And I'm going to actually talk a little bit about him in just a little while as well. And so if the reason that you are here is because you are holding space for the global currency reset or the evolution of humanity, the anchoring of the new earth reality, then you are in the right place. Yay! So we are, and we're all about having fun too, and keeping our vibration high and joyful, and knowing that as we open our hearts to be the vibration of the gold, the heart of gold, our heart of gold, and align with our heart's desires, that we are also opening our hearts to receive, and that we know that to give and to receive is the flow of the energy. So it is a give and a take, a give and a receive. And so that's also the vector equilibrium. That also has to do with the sacred geometry. And so as we move into this conversation and this call, what I'd also like you to do as we begin is settle into the energy. This is our third day together. And settle into, as you take a couple of deep breaths, the releasing of all the stuff that isn't serving you, and even from your day, your morning, whatever time zone you're in right now, just from the last 24 to 3 days, 72 hours, we have done a lot, and I can't even overstate this. As a group, as a collective group, we have done a tremendous amount of energy shifting, transmuting, moving, engaging, and activating. And so as you engage with that awareness, then I also would like you to engage with the intention of releasing the stuff that doesn't serve you, and to engage with the energies of that high vibration love that you are, and we talked about quite a bit in call 1 and call 2, especially that the generating of the loving thyself vibration, and the generating of that vibration of creation, that we are in this together. We are creating and anchoring a new earth reality, and that the revaluation of these currencies and all of the different things that go along with this scenario, this situation, this global impactful situation, is also a revaluation of self and self-worth, of wealth, based on your heart, the purity of your heart, and not associated with what's in your bank account or what's not in your bank account. So let's rock and roll. I want to introduce, again, we have our 7 people who are holding this field very, very powerfully. The the field, this unified field, and holding space with you and also for you. Because as we are generating these vibration of creation energies, there is the potential for a lot of interference and infiltration. And so it's also, as we hold space for somebody, it's another way of even what some people would be familiar with would be saying prayer for somebody. But as we hold space together, we are actually holding the space for a possibility that then can be moved into a probability. And that probability is clearly set with intention as well as action and doing this, aligned with beingness, and then we move it into reality. So it's really a couple of different steps. And so that is part of what we're doing right now, is we are collectively unifying, holding the space for this global currency reset as well as this new earth reality anchoring. Okay, so I would like to introduce, Scott is back on the line. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah, hi everyone.
And so as you guys probably know, Scott is over in Sydney, and I have come over to the U.S. I'm over in LA, so we are not physically together, and energetically we are, and we are also bridging this unified field that we've been activating for the last couple of years. So, and we're going to start off today. Scott's got some things he wants to share that are coming over from yesterday's call as well. All right, so we also have Helen is here.
Hi everybody, how are you? I am thrilled again to be here and bring on the GCR. Thanks, Debs and Scott.
Woohoo!
Yes.
All right, and we also have Roberta.
I'm glad and honored to be here and holding this field for all this GCR and all the changes coming.
Awesome. And then we also have Sue, Country Gal.
Hello, everybody. I'm just excited to be here and also honored to be part of this.
Awesome. Thank you. And Jan is back with us.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be back.
And then here with me in LA is Heather. Okay, is Heather here? Okay, so there might be a mic issue. So Heather, if you want to jump on and let us know if you're there, or that we can actually hear you. All right, and then also Patty, who many of you guys know as Nana.
Hello, everyone. So happy and honored to be here and excited that we're going to get this done.
Awesome. All right, I just got a Skype message from Heather. She's saying I'm here. So, Heather, we couldn't hear you. Do you want to try again? Still can't hear you. All right, so I'm just going to let you know she's here. She just Skyped. So there might be a mic issue. And, yep, she just Skyped again saying, All right, so we know we're in communication. You know she's here. And Nadia is here as well. Nadia, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody.
All right, great. And let's see. Jennifer, can you make sure that Heather has the actual correct code?
Sure.
That might be the issue.
No problem.
Okay. All right. So if you guys remember yesterday, we were in Halloween here in the United States, and where we left off in our activation was some transmuting of energies. Within the activation, there was some transmuting of energies of anything that could obstruct the GCR from any type of black magic or ritual or ceremony that may have been done by anyone that really doesn't want humanity to evolve. So I just wanted to present that, and that we are overcompensating all of that with our hearts of gold and with our love and our vibration aligned with wealth. So, Scott, do you want to pick it up from there?
Yeah. The main thing I wanted to cover was regards to potential questions that might come up relating to how do you experience this vibration of wealth without going and buying a luxury trip or a cruise or buying a new Ferrari or that sort of stuff. How do you engage with that frequency and vibration of wealth without actually having it? And it's almost like a paradox or a catch-22 scenario where a lot of people think, well, to engage in this vibration of wealth, I've got to have it. And what I wanted to cover was it doesn't matter the magnitude of the wealth that you engage in, as in, like, you don't need to go and book a 24-day cruise around the world and get a luxury suite and first-class airfares and limos and all of that sort of stuff. It's not about the actual tangibility of the wealth, rather the frequency. So, for example, if you find that there's a little picnic spot where you live that's quite beautiful, out in nature, you might be under a tree, some flowers blossoming, whatever brings you joy, something that is as simple as that, of taking a rug from the home and setting up a little picnic, some paper napkins, some water, some bread, whatever. It can be really simple, but engaging in something that brings you joy and taking a moment to experience a heart's desire, however that may be for you. I mean, some people can't stand going on a picnic, so pick something that is actually enjoyable. And the reason I say this as well, I can give an example from years ago when I used to work on luxury motor yachts. And I was there as crew, sitting alongside billionaires who would be experiencing, say, at one stage we were in Mozambique and we had these whale sharks swim up to the boat, and you could just see these whale sharks cruising gracefully and sort of come up to the side of the boat. And I got to see the look of wonderment and amazement on the faces of these billionaires who were paying massive amounts of money to experience that same thing. And that joy and wonderment is available to all of us, and we don't need to spend massive amounts of money to be able to experience that. So from an energetic frequency or a signature pattern, that same joy can be experienced in very different ways without having to have the amounts of wealth that we would traditionally associate with that. So when Deb talks about engaging in the vibration of this wealth, it's actually experiencing, setting up the visualizations, going and taking an actual action, and not just thinking about it. This is the engagement part about it, of getting off your backside and going and thinking about something that brings you joy, can have you experience that vibration of wealth, happiness, to be able to go out into the world and do the things that we're wanting to do with the project funding, to be able to help and assist humanity. It might be something as simple as going to a fair that has, or a dog show or something like that. You're surrounded by a whole heap of dogs and puppies. I think that would put a smile on just about everyone's face, except those who can't really stand dogs. But you get where I'm going. So it's really looking at the ways to engage with that frequency and the energetic signature of that vibration and embodying. And then suddenly your heart starts broadcasting that frequency. Has that covered it all there, Deb, or did you want to add any more?
I think that covers it fabulously. I'm sorry, I'm actually the one that pushed the button for the Q&A session. I didn't realize it was going to have a recording. And I just want to reiterate, and somebody's got us on one of our people. We can hear ourselves, so if you could mute your computer. One of the things that is, just to reiterate what Scott is saying, is it can be, he said it can be, it's like a catch-22. It can be incredibly challenging when you are, especially so many people have been sitting around waiting for this for so long and disengaged with the regular things that you would be doing. If you didn't even know anything about this GCR, and if that relates to you, then, and if you are sitting, or if you are in an experience, I guess I did have more to say, right? If you're in an experience where you're barely making ends meet, or you're just making ends meet, and you're not, and that's what I call existing, not really thriving, then it's what Scott is talking about. It's that 100 times so important for you to disengage from the waiting energy and go and engage with things every day. Do something. I had mentioned on one of my shows, I've only done a couple, but I mentioned that one of the things that I did was, or one of the things that I love to do is I love if I'm going to do not just even a cocktail, but even a smoothie or whatever, and to have it in like a beautiful glass, elegant, glass or something. And I just, set it up on the deck and have flowers and make it be something very special. And if you are not engaging with different things like that in your life, that how easy it is to do that. The other thing too is,
Deb,
yeah.
Sorry, just to jump in there. As far as a beautiful glass goes, I mean, even that can be out of reach for some people. We have a beautiful plastic glass, which we got from a party that we went to over a year ago that has little flashing lights in the bottom of it. and we saved it from that function. And it's probably about, I don't know, $2 worth, but it's got these little flashing lights in it, and it lights up, and it's a fancy-looking glass. And even that can be something that puts a smile on your face and brings you a little bit more joy than looking at your other plastic glass or something like that. So use your imagination and embody that vibration of what can I do to get out of the program that runs that says I don't have, and find the program and delete it, and engage with the program that says I am and I have.
And here's even another suggestion, and we don't need to stay on this too long, but it is so important to engage with that vibration of this is already done, you're already in creating mode, and that you're already celebrating your life as you are post GCR. One of the things is if you don't have let's say celebrating, let's say you're gonna have a bottle of if you drink, you'll have a bottle of champagne, Dom Perignon, something. Even if you get something like a bottle of sparkling water, and you have that with like I've gotten some beautiful glasses at Salvation Army for $2 to $6 each. And you have, doesn't matter if it's been used or not, right? And I know some of the glasses I've gotten that I have, some champagne glasses, they probably were originally $40 or $50 a pair. But go ahead and start actually celebrating. Put the sparkling water in the champagne glass every morning when you wake up and say, cheers to the universe. I am celebrating my wealth and celebrating my heart of gold, and that this is done. And so even just like, take action like that of engagement really can actually because your mind doesn't know necessarily that it actually hasn't shown up in your bank account yet. You're in the beingness and the doingness of that it has. Does that make sense? Okay, so we have a little bit of background noise. That might be from one of our people. Now, what I would like to do, Scott, was there anything else you wanted to add before we move on?
No, I'm good. I think carry on and go from there.
Okay, great. All right, so what I'd like to do is I did open up the Q&A. There were quite a few people. Well, there were several people that were still on the line yesterday when we ended the call. I have gotten quite a few emails from people. So go ahead if you would like to share on the call today, whether you have a question or something you want to share. It's a *6. So the Q&A line is open. Go ahead and *6, and you'll start to you'll show up here in our queue, and we'll go ahead and take some of these calls. And I'm going to go ahead and share two things before we take the calls. Give you guys a chance to show up there in our queue. So the two things that I'd like to share right off the bat is I have somebody that is, actually he's in Australia, that's pretty funny, from a couple of years ago, a client that did a class that I was leading, teaching people how to be telepathic, and actually activating and then teaching how to be telepathic. And so he emailed me yesterday, and he had fallen off his chair because he wasn't there for the live version, but he was there for he listened to the replay. And he said that the two times he looked at the time on the replay, and I just want to say that there's definitely still some more space. There's only a couple people in the queue, so if you want to share something, I know I got the emails and I got the requests, so you guys jump in now with a *6. So back to what Bruce had emailed me. So the two times he looked at the time code on the recording, the first time was 3 minutes and 33 seconds. And then the next time he said he noticed, and he said I was talking about Sydney, it was 55 minutes and 55 seconds. And then he said he about fell off his chair when I was doing the activation, and the codes that came through were 333 and 555. And so he emailed me, and he said, do you think that was a sign? And of course, I know him, so I can, joke and be my normal witty and or smart-assy self. And I was like, well, and I emailed him back, and I said, laugh out loud. I said, do you need a brick to hit your head? And I said, yes, of course it was a sign for you, silly. So anyway, he emailed back, and he in his email was saying, thank you. He was laughing as well. And it's when we're so I'm sharing that for two reasons. One is because it can be that subtle, right? He just looks at the time code twice in the replay, and he noted the numerology, the numbers. Actually, Helen, I'm going to ask you to share some information today since you really weren't all that available yesterday. So tracking back here. So he noted the numerology, and he paid attention to it, and then obviously it hit him, and it definitely was a sign for him. And so I am just going to remind you guys that it can be that subtle. In a way that's not subtle, but in a way it is. And once you start actually getting used to seeing and paying attention to the numerology and numbers and signs and confirmations and evidence, it'll become easier and easier. And another thing, too, just to note is that when you, on this whole signs and confirmations and whatnot, I just want to remind you of another thing, is that if you have some sort of animal, and I'm going to do some shows around all these kinds of things, but if you have like an animal or an insect or something out of the ordinary show up and you actually notice that that animal, I'll just stick with animals in the moment. Actually, Patty, if you're ready to share, I'm going to call on you here in a moment. You can share about the furry beings that you saw that now is giving you a bit of a nickname.
Okay.
Right? Just to, right. And so here's an example. Like Scott and I were sitting in, we had rented a place in Big Bear last year when we were in LA, up to Big Bear, and there was a grasshopper in the house sitting on my phone. And I was like, okay, that's a little bit out of the ordinary. So, of course, then I look up the spiritual meaning of grasshopper and get the spiritual meaning of the grasshopper. So, with that said, Patty, you want to share about your furry experience?
Okay, well, yes, I would love to. I'm living in South Lake Tahoe, and about 2 or 3 years ago, I was in Santa Fe, and I went into a shop, and I was looking at some of these little Zuni carvings and things, and this woman came up to me, and she said, you know, you're a healer. And I said, yes, I am. She said, we have a blind Zuni who, for certain people, he will carve an onyx bear for you, but he has to check in. So it was about 3 weeks later that I got a call, and he said, yes, he would make a bear for me. And so after moving here, I have this little onyx healing bear. And 2 days in a row, I had a black bear, huge black bear, run right in front of my car, and bound
as you were driving.
As I was driving, and it was, and I was telling one of my shaman friends that had come to visit me the next day about this, and she says, "Oh gosh, I wish I could see one." Well, just then, another black bear ran out in front of my car. So now I'm called Patty Two Bears. But you know, one other thing I think would be very appropriate to mention, Deb, is right after I'd been talking to Sue, who is Country Girl, and I told her about my activations, and Sue is I'll tell you, she gets something in her head, she does it. And so she immediately went on the site, and she bought these tools, you know, the clearing tools. And she was working on them, using them for a couple days, and I get a call from her. And she said, Patty, the weirdest thing is going on here. I've got this light out in my field. And she's an active, they have an organic farm in Minnesota, and so she's a very active farmer. And she said it's really weird. It's going all over my field, and I've got photos of it. So she sent them to me, and obviously it was an orb. And she called me the next morning, and she said, Patty, this is just too weird for words. She said, but we lost our entire crop this year because of this beetle infestation. And the day before, after she and I had stopped talking on the phone, I went out onto my deck, and there sitting on my deck was about a 5-inch scarab beetle. Now, I never have seen a beetle up here at South Lake Tahoe, and I certainly have never in my life seen a 4.5 to 5-inch beetle, but it was as real as could be. And so when she called me and said, Patty, all the beetles are gone that have been eating all my crops, they're gone. I mean, this is the day after the orb appeared. So you talk about confirmation. And I mean, for that beetle to be there, only one beetle, and right sitting on my deck, right in front of me. So those are my confirmation animal insect stories. So I hope that's what you wanted me to talk about.
Absolutely. And you know what? We were actually going to share about that the beetle story on the other show and ran out of time. That was on the second show, I think it was. And Patty, you also, with that beetle, it actually is a representation of the scarab, which is affiliated with Egypt. And you have a very strong affiliation with Sekhmet in Egypt, correct?
Yes, I really do. Yes, I do.
So that's why it's so magical when you really engage in your life with all of these different awarenesses, signs, symbols, and really start to connect the dots. And it has been a little bit challenging these last, 10 plus years, let's just say, decade and a half, to connect the dots, because so much of what we've been existing in hasn't made sense. And it also really is not and has not been, it hasn't been playing out the way that it was, quote unquote, intended to, right? So we've kind of already talked about that. At least we've scratched the surface of it. I'll just say that in the first day, the first call. So now, as we anchor this on the third day, I really am going to encourage each of you to continue this vibration of creation for this GCR in every aspect. If this is important to you, if this is something that you're really wanting the planet to experience, then it's kind of like, it's not even kind of like, I'm going to say it that way, but it's way more than kind of like. It is living and breathing this in your moment-to-moment experience. And as you take even a breath, that you are breathing in, and then with that breath, which is your source, life force energy, you are breathing in and creating the reality that this is a done deal. There have been so many other challenges that have, either created blocks or obstructions or whatnot. But realize that you are at the threshold. We are at the threshold. And you as an individual as a microcosm being of light, as a dot connector in the macrocosm of this unified field, realize the importance of your beingness, your intention, your fortitude of engaging with this. There's millions of people that want this to occur, and they're not engaging with this. They're in the vibration of, okay, well, it's gonna happen when it's gonna happen. And I can tell you right now, if everyone was in that vibration, this would not be happening. And I will tell you what my guide said even 3-4 months ago, is that one of the reasons that this has taken so long is the powers that be definitely were in the intention and have created a field where this whole thing would never see the light of day. And that is those are the exact words that I've gotten from my guides many times. And, you know, I even thought to myself, well, it has to happen. It has to happen. Well, no, if there is a stronger unified field of an organized group of beings that do not want this to occur, then the universe is going to respond to that. So we, as the beings that are holding the light for the transformation, must be stronger and brighter and filled with more love to generate that unified field that is going to counterbalance and not only polarize that field that this is never going to see the light of day, but actually overcompensate for it, that this is a done deal. So if you have been sitting in the mindset or the beingness that, well, it's going to happen when it's going to happen, I can honestly say you're probably doing yourself and the rest of us a disservice. It is proactively engaging and deliberately creating, and that is a vibration of creation that we must engage with. And on this third day, my request and invitation is for each and every one of you to take that into your heart and to allow your heart to sing with the joy of the creation of this as a reality. Okay. Just allow that to sink in. Before I jump into the callers, just everything that has been said, just allow it to integrate. And even ask yourself, how have I been engaging? Have I been engaging as if I am on the playing field, engaging as a player in the game, or have I been sitting on the sidelines thinking somebody else is going to do this? That is a very fair and honest question. And the guidance that I'm getting right now is to ask the question, what has been your, sorry, I just got sidetracked with a Skype message that came in. Let me just ask what was just being brought forth. Okay. Asking yourself, so again, reiterating, asking yourself, what has been your role? What has been your vibration? Have you been sitting on the sideline and waiting for, okay, here's the visual that I'm being shown. So I've now closed my eyes and I'm actually tuning in right now. Have you been sitting either in the bleachers, watching the game, just watching, let's say we call those people like lurkers, right, in the chat, in the website? Have you been sitting in the bleachers just watching the information coming in and waiting and watching, right? Now what I'm being shown is, are you sitting on the sideline? You have your team, you know what team you're on. You may not actually know what the game is. It could be a combination of, let's say, in the U.S., baseball and football, because there's a lot of hidden agendas that are going on behind the scenes, and a lot of different things that a lot of people aren't aware of, right? And that's why I said the other day, it's really imperative for you to actually know what game you're in. So are you sitting on the sideline and watching the score? And that would be, let's say you're watching the score. That would be the equivalent of watching the intel, right? So you're sitting on the sideline and you're there and you want to play, but really what you're doing is you're just watching the intel that comes in. And you're kind of like dabbling and you're saying, hey, great, you know, the other teammates are in there and they're posting information and they're actually engaging with intel and creating and whatnot. Or are you actually in this on a day-to-day vibration of creation, moment to moment, adding to the unified field of this reality? Now, Jennifer just Skyped me a couple good questions because I was actually thinking about this earlier today as well, because I just sent conference calls that I had with a tax attorney 2 years ago to somebody on our team because I am with a group that I got them ready a couple of years ago. So we've been sitting with our, I'm just going to say, trust in whatever we chose to do, and had hours and hours of conference calls educating ourselves about what and how to handle this, how to move from the public to the private sector. So where are you with that? Have you engaged with those decision-making processes, and have you taken this time to actually anchor all those different elements that you need and you know what you're going to do? Jennifer sent a message. Is your paperwork ready? Do you know which bank you're going to use? Have you done the basic footwork in order to, as soon as you get the word that you can go and do something, are you ready do you have your list of phone calls? Do you have your list of people that you're going to be engaging and saying, hey, this is it's moving forward. Please move forward with what we've talked about. Have you had those conversations? Do you have your binders of your different things ready with your receipts and all of the whatever you have there that you are going to be asked to show as proof? Do you have all that stuff? Do you have a spreadsheet done? These are the really pragmatic ways to actually engage with this as a reality rather than waiting. So, with that said, let's go ahead and, there's one more thing. Okay, somebody asked me, I got the same question a couple of times. So before we jump onto the queue and start answering the queue, very, very quickly. Same question that came through is people are falling asleep during these calls. And I wanted to say, yes, that is normal. What is happening is you are going into an altered state, and that's one level. And then the other level is actually going into a deep sleep where you're integrating energies. And you've heard me say this a dozen times now, right? The alchemical transformation is nothing probably like anything that you've experienced before. So what I found a couple years ago, and it took me a couple years to actually figure out what the heck was going on, I would be activating myself, and I would then go out for a couple hours, like really out, asleep, in the middle of the afternoon. It was very common that it was in the middle of the afternoon, like I couldn't keep my eyes awake kind of thing, and my eyes open kind of thing. So when I just finally, after a couple of years, my guides were able to, communicate to me what was going on, but it was the integration, the up-leveling, my higher self was integrating with me, and I was being taken out of my body kind of, so deeply asleep, so that there was integration of higher self energies and codes and different things like that. So if you're finding that you are falling asleep listening to this or even the activation energy, know that two things. One is it's important to follow through with what your body is wanting to do, even if you're not used to taking naps. We'll just call it a nap, right? It's more than that. In the middle of the day, then the invitation here and the suggestion is you actually surrender to it. The other thing is if you're not used to having falling asleep when you're listening to a conference call and you're going into like an altered state or the sleep state, just know to surrender again, and that you can go back to the recording, you can go back and you can listen. You're getting the information at one level anyway. But if you want to engage with it in a logical way and still hear it, and actually not just logical, but engage with your heart and in a awake conscious, you go back to the replay. So I just wanted to answer that because it came in from several different people. Okay, Jennifer, do you want to open up the queue and start getting the first person on the line here? Is Jennifer there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi.
I was going to say, did she go into an altered state?
I'm usually in an altered state.
Speaking of which, you actually had some challenges physically yesterday again, right?
Yes, I did. I had a little more intestinal distress during the call yesterday. But I just see it as
Go ahead.
I just see it as me clearing more old stuff out.
Yep. And I got to say, even with conversations today that I've been having, or even just over the last couple of days, the intestinal stuff seems to be a common thread with this lower chakra stuff that is getting cleared. So if you are having intestinal stuff, diarrhea, stuff like that, sciatica, that's another thing that seems to be a common thread. Know that there's a possibility that it is actually part of this whole clearing of energy and the moving of energy. Okay, Jennifer, who do we have?
Area code 815.
Okay, so area code 815. You are live and on the line, and you were first up, so thank you for your patience and waiting.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, okay. This is David from Belvedere. I had sent you an email the other day,
right.
And you mentioned me on the conference call. I was thrilled, and I'm so excited to be a part of all this. I really am.
Thank you. And you had some. I actually didn't read what you had sent me. So, do you want to share about that dream experience plus the physical stuff? Okay.
I had waken up in the middle of the night about 4 o'clock in the morning and gotten up, and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I went on the computer and went to your website, and I seen the first day's conference call with a link on it because I was unable to attend because I had work commitments. And so I listened to it, and you talked about, clearing the field, and, you talked about how, in your dream, things can manifest themselves and show you, how well you're doing. And I went back to bed, and I went to sleep, and I had a dream where I'm hearing your voice, and I'm holding my hand over my heart, and then all of a sudden there's a light coming out from the center of my body, and it's growing, it's expanding, it's encompassing my whole body, and I'm thinking, holy shit. And that's what I said in my dream. I'm thinking, oh my God, holy shit. And then I woke up, but I realized I was having tears, and I wasn't afraid. I was actually encouraged. I was joyful. I was happy. Mm-hmm. I was excited that the future holds something so tremendous because I wasn't expecting this. I mean, I only, hours before had listened to the conference call, and here I was having a dream, and then, I went back to sleep, surprisingly, and then I got up, and I was refreshed, and I hadn't really gotten all that much sleep, but I didn't feel tired or, like I didn't get any sleep. I felt very energized. And then the lady tonight was talking about animals, and just this afternoon we had people over, and I went outside, and I noticed a dragonfly sitting on the door, and it wasn't moving, and I could get pretty close, and it wasn't moving. And then I found out the meaning of the dragonfly is transformation. It's the ability of wisdom and transformation. I'm like, again, holy shit. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, this is like, really? And I mean, I noticed the dragonfly. It wasn't like, I didn't think. I mean, I noticed it. I even brought my sister and said, look, do you see this dragonfly? And I haven't seen a single dragonfly anywhere where I live. I don't live next to water.
Right.
I mean, how is it, so it's like, damn, I mean, like, I can't believe this.
And how did you find out that thank you. And how did you find out that dragonfly is about transformation?
Because when the lady was talking, I remembered seeing the dragonfly. I thought, well, let me see what a dragonfly means. I was like, oh, it's a bug. I mean, there's meanings in everything. But I thought,
right.
Okay, let me look and let me see what it means. And it's a spirit animal, and it's connected with symbolism of change and life. I'm like, Jesus, I can't get over that. That's so. Is it coincidence? I don't know. And then what I like to share with you too is something very spiritual happened to me. Years back. This is going, you mentioned in your conference calls and even in your shows how after 9/11, how things went to crap. Well, I had sold insurance for 8 years. I was a commissioned sales insurance person. And my sales tanked right after 9/11. And I didn't want to change careers. I didn't want to do that. Well, what happened was one of my cousins got into pharmacy in the medical field. And there was so many to try it, whatever. Well, I had a conversation what I would consider God. And I said, look, if I do this, if I go here in the medical field, which I had no desire to, none whatsoever, I said, you're going to have to pony up and do some work here because I'm taking on faith that if this is where you want me to go, I'm going to go. And I went to school. I got a loan. My teacher and I connected instantly. It was like an instant friendship. Well, before I even ended the class, I landed a job. And then from that job, I landed a temporary job. But the day before I was to start that temporary job, I went online and I saw a job opening. Well, it just so happens that my teacher worked at a hospital here in town where I live. So I called her up and I said, hey, can you get me in? She says, well, it'll take a while and maybe not. I don't know. Well, a week before my job is to end, I interview with her. And by the time that I landed that job and my assignment ended, I was only out of work 4 days out of 6 months. This is going from insurance sales into pharmacy.
Wow.
And I said, wow, this is not coincidence. And this is something that was my teacher.
Coincidence.
My teacher is now, in fact, my boss, and I've been there now over 7 years.
Wow.
And so it's like when you ask for this, it does manifest, but you have to put your heart out there. You have to you have to lay it right on the table and say, you know what? I'm done. I can't do it. You have to take care of it. And if it's meant to happen, and you just say, go ahead and do it. And it happened. Boom, 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 boom. And I was so thrilled, and I've been there since. So I just wanted to share that with you, that, the spirit world can affect your reality. It really can. And I am thrilled that you got back into this because you were going to help millions of people. I know that. And it just seems so coincidental that, I saw that dragonfly and you were talking about bugs and everything, and I'm like, holy, it's just unbelievable. I can't understand it, but it's so awesome.
Excellent. And I don't think I used the word bugs, by the way.
Oh, well, insect. But it was like, really, I just, geez.
And dragonflies are definitely very spiritual and very powerful spirit energy, by the way. So that's awesome. And you were in the moment to go look it up. And that's what's so really awesome also about the Internet is we have all that at our fingertips. It's just a matter of actually engaging.
Yeah.
Well, but the other thing, too. Oops, go ahead.
No, I go ahead. I was going to ask you a question. I do have a difficult situation at work, and I just wanted your thoughts or suggestion. I have a number of people, let me put it this way, a number of people who are negative, and they are what I would call energy vampires. They don't like the light. You mentioned how some people are like moths to a flame, especially when you start engaging with the light. And I realize that. And these people are buzzing around me, causing me difficulties, and I'm just asking if you have any suggestions on what I can do about that to kind of mitigate that.
Okay. This is actually a pretty big conversation, and I'm going to be getting into this in the third show quite a bit.
Okay.
What I will say very quickly is that, and it goes across the board, from coworkers to people we're in relationship with, to blood relations. I'm talking about, family members, mother, father, etc.
Sure.
What has become an unfortunate situation right now is that, and I'm going to ask this as a question for everyone to answer for themselves. Do you have, or are you in a situation where your close family, or maybe even the person you're in relationship with, does not engage with their spiritual journey of awakening and doesn't get you for wanting to engage with that, and or is not respectful or even aware of why you're engaging with this GCR? The unfortunate situation is that the people that are the naysayers and that are not really awakening often are the ones that are projecting a lot of the lower vibration energies, the judgments, and also are being used as interference and infiltration to get to and cause more distraction, disdain, challenges for those of us that are actually really engaging with our awakening consciousness and light. So I'm going to be talking quite extensively about this, and it is a very, very important time to be aware of that, and the willingness to disengage. So, David, you disengaged from a career path that you, I'm assuming you really liked what you were doing with the insurance, correct?
Yeah, I loved it. Yes, I loved it. I had no intention of ever going into the medical field whatsoever.
Okay. Well, and I can understand, because I never had any intention of going in front of the camera or having my own show. So the surrendering, so somewhere along the line you got the guidance to make the switch, and you surrender to it rather than holding on to the old agenda, right? And it has worked out for you.
Right. The voice that was telling me what I need to do says, God is trying to tell you something. He wasn't telling me what to do. He was just saying, God is trying to tell you something. And all I could think is, I'm a 40-something-year-old man. It was so hard for me to earn an income, and I'm thinking, it can't be this hard. It shouldn't be this hard. And I was racking my brain thinking, why is it so hard for me to make $1?
Right.
I'm not stupid. I'm not lazy. And yet, for some reason, money was not coming my way. And I said, you know what? Then I have to change my paradigm. I have to change the way I think, because it's obviously not working for me.
Right.
That was the conclusion that I came to. And my only alternative was to go back to school, but I didn't want to go back and get a degree because I couldn't afford one.
Right.
And number two, I wanted to get something quick. And when I realized in hindsight that my teacher is now my boss, that was what he was leading me towards, whether I recognized it at the time or not. And it's only afterward that I can sit back and say, yes, this is the path that he was leading me towards. Why? I don't know, but I do like helping people. And being that I'm in a hospital, I do enjoy helping people because they're obviously for a reason. And so I get a good feeling about what I do, but money is still an issue for me, but I'm working through that, but at least I know I'm on the right track.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
And I just want to address one other thing, and this again, I'm going to be getting into this in the shows. What you experienced is what I refer to as the emasculation of the masculine. What my guides and what information has come through in regards to 9/11 is that those towers were utilized in a ritual. One tower represented the masculine and one tower represented the feminine. Now, I'm not going to get into all the details, but the some of the domino effect, because the masculine and the male gender is programmed to be the quote unquote breadwinner, shall we say, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In our society right now, until we shift all of this with the money, that's predominantly the man is the one who usually is perceived to be the breadwinner first, and then the woman, if she's going to add to it, she's adding to it. Now, I don't want to get into the whole sexist thing, and I obviously, hopefully, people hear and know that I am all about balance. But what happened was, because that ritual also was a ritual to invert money, to create an inversion where money was not aligned with light and spirit. It was aligned with man and the depletion of financial money, financial availability, and the flow. It created a backdraft, a vacuum. And how this affected as a domino effect of the masculine is it has been very challenging for the men to make money easily and effortlessly and abundantly, unless you are more in a vibration of greed, fear, control, manipulation, and that. But for both men and women who are more of the light, generosity of heart, the vibration of giving and trusting, that money also became an incompatible energy and vibration. It's another reason why it's been very challenging for those of us of holding a higher vibration of light, have had a more challenging time holding it in our field, because it's not a vibration. It's not a vibrational match. So what has happened with the emasculation of the masculine? One other, and again, I'll do much more expanded version of this in a show, is that when the man cannot be the breadwinner or at least take care of himself, he's not even open to wanting a relationship. Or if he is, it's very challenging because he's not able to. Would you agree?
I would agree. Yes, I would agree.
Because it doesn't allow that emotional body to be open to love, because it is it's a program that is running in the masculine, and when they're not feeling good about being able to be the provider in a healthy way in a relationship, everything else starts to shut down. Mm-hmm. So domino effect over the last 15 plus years that has even very much affected the sacred partners. The sacred partners of coming together, the ones that are here to actually shift the alchemy with their vibration of lovemaking and kundalini and all of that. And that's a whole other thing. So what we are doing right now is this GCR. This is such a huge event because it's not just a distribution of wealth. It is actually uprighting the inversion that were created from that ritual, as well as even the Jack Kennedy reality, that trajectory that got thrown off balance. So what you did, David, you have shared so many golden nuggets. What you did is you made a choice to shift from something that you loved in order to make it work. And that actually is something that it's one element of what I refer to as a coping mechanism. You did something to compensate for a knowingness you had that it wasn't going to work the old way.
Right.
Right?
Right, exactly.
Right. And so a lot of people, though, have been blindsided over the last 15 years because they're expecting to be able to manifest and to create and to be abundant the way that they had been. I had said, I think on day one, many of us know what it's like to be abundant from back in the 90s and before, and it basically, the spigot got shut off.
Sure.
So what we're doing right now is we are unifying to reactivate those inversions for uprighting. The ship got turned upside down. So what we're doing right now is we're turning that ship back upright. So thank you very much for everything you just shared. I mean, like so many golden nuggets. Really awesome. Thank you.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I'm so thrilled that you're able to do this, and I'm thrilled that you're providing this wonderful service, this wonderful opportunity for people to engage and understand themselves, and the whole, spiritual realm is just tremendous. So many thanks to you and Scott for doing all of this.
Thank you. Namaste.
Yes, namaste.
And stay in touch.
I will.
Okay, great. All right, so Jennifer, do you want to go to the next one?
Sure. Area code 707.
And that person is still looking muted.
There we go.
Still muted.
Okay, let's try this differently.
I'm not going to touch it because yesterday I think there were too many of us touching it.
Okay, how's that? 707?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hi.
Yes. Hello, hello. My name is Celine. I'm in the North Bay area, California.
I recognize the area code.
Yes. We had a bit of rain today, so it's beautiful.
Nice.
Very, very grateful. I did try and email you through your website last night, and I'm not sure if it got to you.
I haven't looked at all of them. I haven't had the time to look at all of them, so we'll see.
Yes, I'm not sure if I did the right, went through the right motions there. But I resonate with absolutely everything, you've said the last 3 days, and, the picnic under the tree, and the vibration. And I've sort of been on this path all my life.
Yeah.
But seriously, began the inner work in 2003 when I walked away, left my job.
Right.
And decided to do the inner work and to spend time with my children and to really, do what I really wanted to do. And it's been wonderful. The reason I'm contacting you is I'm very puzzled about my health. So I've been able to, I've had checks land in the mailbox, oh wow, ooh, I wasn't expecting this. So I'm very much, in that flow. But my health is a puzzle. And so my question for you is, and it's a question for myself that I have not really been clearly able to answer, is am I transmuting for others? Am I transmuting, for the world? Because my sister was admonishing me last night for always having this large world vision. And a channel said to me a few years ago, stop, focus on yourself. So I stopped and I worked hard on focusing on myself. But here I am on this call. I'm helping to create the field and to help activate because...
Okay, so Serene?
Yes.
Okay, so so here's two things. One is I want to... I'm just going to tune in with you quickly because I don't want to make it just about you.
Yes.
And at the same time, I know that there's a lot of physical stuff that people are going through, dealing with, experiencing because of the energies on the planet at this point. The energies that are moving through, and not even just with the alchemical transformation. So on a macrocosm, to address what you're talking about, two things. One is the infiltration that I haven't really even talked very in depth yet about definitely can affect somebody's health. And I was told years ago that the two ways that infiltration are affecting people are finances and health. So my first question is, are you clearing your field?
I was listening to you yesterday about using your tool, but I believe that I have been, but I think I need to do some more work in that area.
Okay. I'm going to suggest, yes, you probably do.
Yes.
And what we used to do years ago, thinking, saging and, bubble up and protection, yes. What I had said on the second show, I can't remember if it was the first show or the second show, we at this point need to throw away everything, almost everything. It's almost, don't throw the baby out with bathwater, but we are starting from scratch almost, and not bringing forward too much of what we had taught, because we're actually in a situation that we were not intending to be in. Right? We're in uncharted territory as far as how much infiltration, how much ceremony, ritual, things have been done that have abrogated our free will, that have interfered with our own free will, right?
Yes.
So rather than just protecting our field, it's important that we actually have a different relationship, a brand new relationship in partnership as our activated I am presence with our energy field, and to really learn to command and be the commander of that field. Okay, that's on the macrocosm, that there is a very high probability that your health is being affected because of that. And the second thing, of course, what I just said is that our health is being affected also by a lot of these energies, and up-levelings and clearings and transmuting. Now, the other thing is, and do I have permission to tune in with your higher self?
Yes, please. You do.
Okay. So the other thing before I even do that is that it's important for each of us to recognize what is in our highest good. And if your well-being is not stabilized, then it's not a great time for you to actually be engaging with humanity and the betterment of humanity until you have a solid foundation of well-being within yourself. Mm-hmm. You can be holding space, but you must choose. My suggestion is that you must choose that you're not going to be a way station. You're not a transmuting station for humanity unless you are stable enough to actually do that. And it is your choice. And one of the things that I have learned over the years is, and I'm going to ask this of everybody here, do you put the energy out to your outside source and say, where do you want me to be? What do you want me to be doing? We oftentimes have been taught in our spiritual teachings, everything happens for a reason. Well, it must be Spirit wanted you to be doing this. But what we've done is we have allowed ourselves, many, to get into a place where we're actually not owning what it is, what our heart's desire is, and we're thinking, well, this must be what Spirit wants me to do. And it takes it out of you being the creator. Do you see that?
Yes.
So it's important for each of us to engage in the beingness of what it is and know what our heart's desires are. Our guides are not here to tell us what to do. Yeah. They're here to, and I traverse 24/7 multidimensionally, and every important decision I make, I am tuning in with my guides and my higher self. Everything. Mm-hmm. And I have definitely done things that I didn't think in a logical way I would have been doing. Even my trip here to LA, 5 days notice, and I'm on a plane. But the point is, what's that?
I'm understanding for myself that unless I do sort of take care of the self and anchor it, that I won't be as capable of doing the work, the service to others, the work in the world.
Exactly.
Like to do. I'm totally there. I'm so complete with being the, what was the term you used, the transmuter. I'm very complete with that.
Right.
But I'm puzzled as to how to shift out of it.
You're puzzled to say that again?
As to how to shift out of that role.
Okay. Let me ask if you're even in that role.
Say that again, please.
I'm going to ask your higher self if you're even in that role.
Yes.
And your name is it Serene?
Celine, yes.
Celine.
Celine as in Dion.
Got it. Okay, here's what I'm being told. She's not transmuting for others. She is engaging with forgiveness of self from old world events. And what I'm going to gather from that is that this is old world, even past life or parallel reality things, experiences. Yes. And what also your higher self is saying is that she's overcompensating with her fears, or her fears are overcompensating her love of thyself vibration.
Uh-huh.
Tell me if that resonates.
Very much so. The word karma, that's what I wrote in my email, the karma, and I do feel that it's old.
Okay. So here's what's important. That you see, I don't particularly resonate with karma. I hardly ever say it. You guys will hardly ever hear me say it. Mm-hmm. So, and I feel like that we're meant to in this lifetime. I feel that the karma, there's a tad of judgment in karma. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let's call it old energy then.
Old energies.
Yeah.
So,
that.
Okay. So what's important for you to do is to forgive yourself and just work with your higher self. Call me, email me if you want to delve into this further, because I want to make this more, I want to get back to the GCR. But work with your higher self to forgive, and you don't even need to know what the details are, and then move from that forgiveness into self-generating self-love, loving thyself.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I'm being told right now it's going to queue up in your field right now. So right now, together in this unified field, and the team that's here, and anyone, we're holding in this field for your highest good all of the aspects of events, issues, and self that are in your highest good to be in forgiveness of, that as you go to sleep tonight, that you work multidimensionally, and I'll work with you multidimensionally if you want me to, and Scott will too, to disengage and transmute and work with those energies of forgiveness.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm being told to bring that in right now. Bring that into sorry, I'm interrupting you, and it's important to not skirt over the velocity of what's possible.
Okay.
Okay? I'm going to ask you to then touch base with me within the next 5 days. And we're going to, the people that are here on the call and on the replay, and let's track with you the evidence of your experience of this.
Okay.
So you're going to call forth and conjure up all of the energies, and the intention is to transmute them at the origin in all timelines, and to, with self-love, forgive all and any aspects of those events and parallel realities and etc. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Quickly, you had one more thing.
No, I connected to the GCR and the opening of the heart because if I can, so now, thank you, if I can do this, then I'm so much more capable of doing so much more.
Exactly. And open to receiving.
Yes, thank you for that reminder.
And I want to bring this up for everybody here. When you have nuances of judgment and self-deprivation of love and things that you need to forgive yourself about, you are in, again, a vibrational mismatch for this new vibration of wealth that is being revealed onto the planet. This is a big part of the internal work.
Yes.
So thank you for being here and sharing all of that and being willing to go multidimensional.
Yes, thank you. I look forward to it.
Great.
I'm grateful for the aha that brings.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. Yes.
All right, so definitely email me, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Much love.
Thank you.
Okay. So Jennifer, do you want to go to the next person?
Certainly. It's area code 860. 860. Can you hear us? 860.
Hello,
okay.
Yes. Hi, Deb.
Hi. Who's this?
This is Paula in Connecticut.
Hi, Paula.
Hello. I just want to give a little shout out to all the gladiators. Hello.
Ah! The gladiators and their shout outs. Love it.
Yes. I've been on all of your calls, and it's just amazing some of the things that have been happening. I finally today was able to send over an email, and it was probably a little late for you to even get to it, but I probably should ask first if you did.
I saw your name, and I know I read a tiny bit of it, but I didn't read the full thing. Because at first I was thinking, I was thinking Paul, and then as you were, remind me what you were sharing, because then I was like, wait, this sounds like a female. And I looked back at your name, and it was Paula. So yes, go on.
Well, so many things have been going on. I didn't even know where to start, and that's why it took a little bit to even put this email together to you. But there was a dream Friday night that I had that was just amazing, and it even tied into some of the things that are happening today with me. A lot of things that you had shared on Friday I was able to relate to in so many different levels. It was amazing. And that heart of gold that you were talking about, one of the things that probably might be interesting to some of the folks as far as relating to what we're doing, I all of a sudden just had something that brought to my attention something in my jewelry box that I've had for years, and it actually is a gold heart.
Oh, right. You sent me a picture of that.
Yes. I figured a picture was worth 1,000 words. I didn't even know what else to say other than what I had shared with you. But I wear it all the time now. and it does actually have a really interesting story behind it. I had found it on the floor. It was shining at me. It was the day of my grandmother's funeral years ago, and for whatever reason, it was a week ago last Sunday. Something was drawing me to it, and I put on a necklace that I wear all the time, 24/7 now.
So you just found it a week ago Sunday?
Yes, a week ago today.
So, a week ago today, right.
And you put so much more meaning on it for me on Friday. I was like doing a wow.
Oh, awesome. And did you say that it was actually at your grandmother's funeral?
A lot of my cousins ended up taking us to this place, and we were just getting together after the funeral and just having cocktails and just enjoying some time together. And it was actually on the floor. And it has a little diamond chip in it, and it just all of a sudden was flashing at me. And I picked it up.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question regarding your grandmother. Were you guys close?
Yes, we were. She was very special, very spiritual woman.
I get that. And I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as you told me, and I did see it in the email, that it had something to do with your grandmother's funeral, but I didn't know the time frame of it. I am pretty certain that manifested there for you to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I will also share with you that one of our team members put in our Skype group, I think it was earlier today, a picture of a diamond. And this also has to do with the diamond matrix. So just a little interesting tidbit there.
Wow.
So, okay, awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to share?
Well, as far as the dream that I had on Friday after the first call, as far as the meaning behind it, I'm not really quite sure yet, but one of the things that I'm focusing on with an associate of mine is a nonprofit. We're going to be focusing on schools, refugees, and other areas of need. In my dream that night, I found myself outside of the school where I was in grade school, and all of my 8th grade classmates were there, all sitting at picnic tables, and one of them came over to greet me and say hello. It really didn't have a lot of meaning to it. Saturday, I was thinking a lot about it, and then there was actually an 8th grade class today that, as far as the 8th graders that are currently today at the school, I got really emotional throughout the whole thing today. It was really amazing, and I don't usually get like that. But I'm still trying to figure out where that all ties in.
Okay. All I will say at this time, because I'm going to just encourage you to really tune in and see what there is there for you, is that our dream experiences are multidimensional creating time as well. So there might be something really special with the group that you're just talking about. There was those 8th graders in the dream experience and 8th graders today that you met with, right?
Didn't necessarily meet with, but it was actually at church.
Okay.
As a group sitting up in front, and pretty much brought me back to all of my old classmates that came into my dream a couple of nights ago.
Okay. So one thing that I would just tune in and ask and keep me posted on what comes through is, was there an experience for you in 8th grade that is wanting to be cleared or healed? And you don't need to answer that right now.
Okay.
Or because I got a lot of, and I've actually got activation energy starting to come through right now. Let me just ask if, because I'm gonna have us start to phase out of the call right now and move into the guided meditation for the GCR. So, do I have permission to connect with your higher self?
Sure.
Okay. I'm being told by your higher self that you're being prepared for bigger things, but there was tumultuous things that occurred at that time in your life that were very disconcerting, and they're still playing out in a certain way. And I'm not going to go into any details right now because it could get personal, and I do get very detailed information that for you to be aware of. Does that resonate so much? Does that resonate?
Uh-huh. Yes, it does.
Okay. So what your higher self is saying is that what's sticking out the most in the communication is that it was a very tumultuous time, and there were things that were very disconcerting for you. Then also what's being said is that it's time for you to let them go to the wayside. And if you want further insight regarding that, then just email me again and we'll figure out what to do next, whether it's a session or whatnot.
Okay, that sounds great.
So I've got activation energy coming through, and I have a feeling it's with this energy, there's wanting to be transmuted. In fact, you know what? Why don't we do this? Let's everybody. So Paula, thank you for being a part of this. Stay tuned, obviously, because I'm going to actually bring this energy through. And what we're going to work, one of the things that we're going to work with is the transmuting of the energies that have come up for people. I've got a lot starting to come through already. So let's so thank you, and just let me know what transpires after this, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, for everyone else who has that's still here in the queue, will you please email me at contact@shiftishappeningtv.com. Let me know in the subject line, I was in the queue, and I will make sure that you know when we do our next event, whether it's the show or another. The next thing will probably be an actual show. But I think we're going to try to engage callers. Okay, so let's all come back into alignment with this global currency reset. And as we do, we're surrounding ourselves with a golden sphere of light. And even all of the energy that has been moving in this conversation, here's what I'm being told right now. Global currency reset is about to be revealed to humanity. Stay tuned. Okay, that is what we're going to be moving with. This is what we're going to actually activate right now, and because my heart is starting to really expand with this vibration. So as we surround ourselves with the golden sphere of light, we igniting it with a great central sun, that we are in the vibration of this creation, that we have, I'm being told we've overcompensated for the negativity. The generosity of heart is winning out. And so as we each now come into our heart space, that we take a couple of deep breaths, close your eyes, and unless, of course, you're driving. And as you breathe, again, just reminding you, breathe in that love, breathe in the light, and breathe out any hesitation. Breathe out any hesitation. Any hesitation that this is not real. And what I'm being shown is bubbles. You remember? Okay, I'm being shown bubbles, like, when you have a glass of milk and a straw, and or bubbles. I'm being shown that bubbles bubbling over, or even like a jar of bubbles where you're actually able to blow the bubbles. So that's what I'm being shown right now, is it's all bubbling over. So in that, and it's kind of silly and fun, and in that bubbling over, that you engage with all of this bubbling over with joy, with elation, and with the satisfaction of a job well done. So now what I'm being shown is like when there's been a space, there's been like a shuttle or rocket, and everyone is back now safely, and they're all patting each other in the back and saying, good job, good job. That you are engaging, and that we are engaging in a unified field of that vibration, and that we are acknowledging each other for a job well done, for overcompensating the vibrations that are, and neutralizing any of the energies that would be trying to neutralize this moving forward. So as we open our hearts with the joy and the bubbling over of the elation, and engage consciously with the vibration of creation, that we go forth for the rest of the evening, and we know that we're coming into we're still holding this field as a very permanent window and doorway, and that we are opening our hearts to be that heart of gold, to be the manifestors of wealth, and the internal technology is the divine blueprint, and that the currency and the flow of our love of thyself is a representation in the energetic. That is the energetic representation of the flow of the currency of the financial abundance. So there's two rivers, and they are now merging together. It is that flow of love of self, love of thyself. That's one. Then there is the love and unconditional love of another. Then there is love of Mother Earth, Mother Sky, and love of God. And God is not just a God being outside of yourself. This is you. It circles right back now as God creator being that you are. And that's where there's a full circle. So the quadrants of these are also creating columns in this unified field. And that we are the unifiers as the conduits of these vibrations of creation. So now as we we are now the sphere around Mother Earth, and that we see humanity, we see all of the beings that are going to be very, very much affected by the releasing of these financial tools. And that's what they are. They're financial instruments and tools to support humanity's and moving into thriving rather than existing. And so now as we also are commanding from our activated and empowered I am presence, but all any energies, anything that is not in alignment with this of the divinity, the alignment, that we are commanding that it all be completely dismantled and unbound and uncreated and neutralized, that what we are holding here in this field is such a vibration of love and light and unconditional love for all aspects of our existence and for humanity. And so we activate that within ourselves. And just as the people that have shared of their hearts opening, and even that visual of the glowing of the heart, the ET glowing of our hearts, we are part of the first wave of beings that are holding this field for this new earth reality, and that we see the floodgates of these financial instruments flying out in all directions, being grounded here in this new earth reality and expanding. And as it does, people's hearts are expanding with the resources that they now have available to them, that you now have available to you, that you can have what your heart's desires, and now the choices are no longer based in how much does that cost, how am I going to afford that. That is no longer the question. The question is this a heart's desire? Do I really want to engage with this, whether it's something of a tangible thing, or is it a project? Because there's only so many hours in a day. So what is your heart's desire? But the questions now from this moment forward is, if they aren't already, is this in alignment with my heart's desire? Is this in alignment with me loving myself? And as you vibrate with that vibration of heart of gold and generosity of heart, that you're activating that, and you become an instrument of activation, and that you engage with other people and ask them, what is your heart's desire? And that it's the hundredth monkey going out across the planet of people now choosing not what is logically best. It can be a support, but what they're choosing is what is their heart's desire. Being told the words, that is wealth ministry. That is where you are aligned in the wealth of your heart's desires and the wealth of creation, and not as it is a dollar amount, but the wealth of your heart's desire. And now also in being engaging with, that is my intention. I am that. I am that. I am that. I am. And as you move into the rest of this evening and into the next several days and into this week, that you're now holding that vibration in your heart and the intention of these instruments of wealth to align with you as your heart of gold, and bringing that into your physical experience. So now as we have this unified field activated and activating, it is a living, breathing, celestial field body of energy. And this is important for us to stay together and to collect the consciousness of this new earth reality, and to continue and to continue and to continue deliberately creating that which is our heart's desire to manifest. Individually what you choose, as well as collectively. Come into an alignment of homeostasis. I'm being told Jack Kennedy is going to bring through a message right now. And when his energy comes through, it gets a little challenging for me to communicate. I am here with you now, beloved brides and grooms of the light. We are in a wedding of holy matrimony where the company of heaven is bridging with the manifestors of the outer surface, and the creation of this relationship and these relationships is vitally important for the manifestation of humanity's evolution. I'm here to bring through and about the messages of light that are not only of compensation of gold and wealth, but of compensation of love and generosity of heart. I plan to be with you now and until kingdom come. Kingdom come as the heaven within, the kingdom of light, and the kingdom that is pouring light into the kingdom of Mother Earth, for each of you to behold the sacredness of that light within, the queendom and the kingdom within. Hold that as your spade, your card, your heart of hearts. I'm here with you now to bring forth the messages that are not based in religion, but are of the generosity of heart and the vibration of creation. We shall together, first and foremost, create a new earth reality that overcompensates for the darkness, the dismal, and the downward spiral that has affected literally almost all of mankind and the humanitarian aspect of our existence. It is no longer going to be allowed or tolerated. We shall bring forth the consequences and overcompensate with the ignition of light and love, generosity of heart, and the gratitude for that which has been a dismal and miserable experience for many of you. I'm here to bring now the transmissions let the games begin. That's me bringing that through. That's the energy of what I'm hearing is let the games begin. We now shall begin. This is the time of the new beginning. And it's aligned in the November 1 creation codes, 111. The way one, the codes of creation are being ignited. And this is a manifestation of gold in relationship with creation. Jack is saying, I am the king of light vibration. There is a combination of Jack's energy along with King Solomon. Profound and proverbial effects of the old world and the new world, bridging. Exactly like what Deb and Scott are doing, of bridging this realm with the realm that we are existing in. It is now time to manifest and create this into a fruition of reality that is ready to be experienced with you, all of you at the helm of this, and then for the rest of humanity to follow suit. And this is also in the pursuit of everlasting happiness, joy, and the wealth of creation. I am that I am. I am complete with this transmission. And what he's just saying to me is I'm ready to give them more in the next communication, the next show, whatever it's going to be. I'm ready to give them more, and I'm ready to work with everyone to stabilize the field and to bring forth more of the details of the earth changes, the world changes, the war of destruction that is being deliberately uncreated. I'm laughing because he's saying, I am that I am, and I am really complete. So I am just going to share with you what I'm being shown right now is Mother Earth and the energies that I'm bringing through that make that noise. And what I'm hearing is Mother Earth is the exalted one. Mother Earth is the divine, the celestial body of the divine feminine. being activated into I'm just double checking a word here. Compensation of creation. And I'm just asking for further clarification on that. Got it. Okay, compensation of creation as we visualize Mother Earth, that she has created, she has sustained our ability to live upon this planet. And from that unconditional love of that celestial being and body, that the raping and pillaging of that celestial body will cease, and the compensation that will be provided will be an abundance of resources, of natural resources flourishing upon Mother Earth. As soon as we shift the jurisdiction, these are the words I'm hearing. As soon as we shift the jurisdiction of the lackeys that have no idea or respect or love or honor of celestial bodies and beings, and it goes from planet to human beings and anything with a life force energy practically. And I'm also being told to say, stick that in your cap. Stick that feather in your cap. And know that it is done. It is now in our matrix of creation from this conversation, and for all of the people that are listening live, as well as will listen to the replay, as well as going out as a ripple effect for the highest good, and to even to reach out beyond as a ripple effect, like a sound wave is what I'm being told and shown, that this will go in all directions and will touch far and wide even people's higher selves in ways that they may not even know how or why they're being affected by a thought or a knowingness or being told a joyful experience, that prior to the engagement of these 3 days, there wasn't enough of a collective field, a unified field, for someone to even have a joyful experience in their heart. So what we're doing right now is the 100th monkey across the planet, and that it is going heart to heart to heart to heart through the grid. And I'm being asked to say, hold that knowingness in your heart chakra. And again, the word of the day is overcompensation. It is an overcompensation with light, of love, and gratitude for the darkness that has been instilled upon many people's hearts. And so now what we're seeing is, and I'm hearing the song, Turn On Your Heart Light. And that we each are conduits in holding that field here in a very, very cosmic, multidimensional facet. So that all of humanity can begin to engage. I haven't heard this for quite some time. That's our truth, and we're sticking to it. The company of heaven is now complete with this transmission. Namaste. We are in this together, as Deb says, and we are co-creating this reality through the fruition of love with each and every one of you. And it is complete. Okay, I'm just going to hold the space here in a very quiet way and check in with my team here, and then I'm going to quietly say goodbye for this call, acknowledging the team that has been present here with you, holding this field. All of you guys absolutely rock, and there's no way I could be here doing this without each and every one of you. So from the bottom, the top, and the middle of my heart, all of my heart, to Scott as well. Financially, I could not be doing this if it wasn't for you. And I acknowledge every one of you and all of you that are here live and that are in the replay, to the replay, engaging with that. We are in this together. We can't do this without each other. And so it is. I love you. And if you are not part of the newsletter or checking the website for information at wakingupwithdeb.com, then I'm going to encourage you to. And the email address is contactus@shiftisHappeningTV.com in regards to anything that you want to communicate to me. And we shall go from here.
Thank you,
Much
Deb.
love.
Thanks, Deb and Scott.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
This
you.
conference
Bye,
is
Deb.
being
Thanks.
recorded.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Canada.
you.
Bye, Deb.
Thank
I love you.
you.
Thank you.
I love you. Thank you. I love you too, guys. Thank you.
Bye, Deb. Thanks.
Blessings to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Deb. Love you.
Thank you.
Love you too.
Love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Much love. Thanks.
Remember to drink water and allow for integration time.
Stories become closer. Closer is where we belong. Is anybody listening? Does anybody hear what I say? Is my body dreaming? Are we going the same way? I believe we can turn this world around. I believe we can mend what ties we break. I believe we can turn this world with open minds and willing hearts, saying I will reach for the all inside of me. Now.
Fabulous. This is Deb. This is Deborah Peach. Today is in the States. It's November 1st, Sunday, 2015, and it is in Australia, where half of our team is. It's Monday, November 2nd, 2015, and this is the third call in a back-to-back daily series that we put out from Wake Up Shift is Happening, the TV show. And the reason that we are doing the 3 days in a row is to anchor this global currency reset, to anchor and prioritize the vibrations of creation, the unified field for this new earth reality, for these currencies being backed by gold, for us to realign the reality that really got shifted when JFK was assassinated, the gold-backed currencies that he was wanting to bring back online for humanity. And I'm going to actually talk a little bit about him in just a little while as well. And so if the reason that you are here is because you are holding space for the global currency reset or the evolution of humanity, the anchoring of the new earth reality, then you are in the right place. Yay! So we are, and we're all about having fun too and keeping our vibration high and joyful, and knowing that as we open our hearts to be the vibration of the gold, the heart of gold, our heart of gold, and align with our heart's desires, that we are also opening our hearts to receive, and that we know that to give and to receive is the flow of the energy. So it is a give and a take, a give and a receive. And so that's also the vector equilibrium. That also has to do with the sacred geometry. And so as we move into this conversation and this call, what I'd also like you to do as we begin is settle into the energy. This is our third day together. And settle into, as you take a couple of deep breaths, the releasing of all of the stuff that isn't serving you, and even from your day, your morning, whatever time zone you're in right now, just from the last 24 to about 3 days, 72 hours, we have done a lot, and I can't even overstate this. As a group, as a collective group, we have done a tremendous amount of energy shifting, transmuting, moving, engaging, and activating. And so as you engage with that awareness, then I also would like you to engage with the intention of releasing the stuff that doesn't serve you, and to engage with the energies of that high vibration love that you are, and we talked about quite a bit in call 1 and call 2, especially that the generating of the loving thyself vibration and the generating of that vibration of creation, that we are in this together. I've only done a couple, but I mentioned that one of the things that I did was, or one of the things that I love to do is I love if I'm going to do not just even a cocktail, but even a smoothie or whatever, and to have it in like a beautiful glass, elegant, glass or something. And I just, set it up on the deck and have flowers and make it be something very special. And if you are not engaging with different things like that in your life, that how easy it is to do that. The other thing too is,
Deb,
yeah.
Sorry,
Go ahead,
just to jump in there. As far as a beautiful glass goes, I mean, even that can be out of reach for some people. we have a beautiful plastic glass which we got from a party that we went to over a year ago that has little flashing lights in the bottom of it. and we saved it from that function. And it's probably about, I don't know, $2 worth, but it's got these little flashing lights in it, and it lights up, and it's a fancy-looking glass. And even that can be something that puts a smile on your face and brings you a little bit more joy than looking at your other plastic glass or something like that. So use your imagination and embody that vibration of what can I do to get out of the program that runs that says I don't have, and find the program and delete it, and engage with the program that says I am and I have.
And here's even another suggestion, and we don't need to stay on this too long, but it is so important to engage with that vibration of this is already done, you're already in creating mode, and that you're already celebrating your life as you are post GCR. One of the things is if you don't have let's say celebrating, you're gonna have a bottle of if you drink, you'll have a bottle of champagne, Dom Perignon, something. Even if you get something like a bottle of sparkling water, and you have that with like I've gotten some beautiful glasses at Salvation Army for $2 to $6 each. And doesn't matter if it's been used or not, right? And I know some of the glasses I've gotten that I have, some champagne glasses, they probably were originally $40 or $50 a pair. But go ahead and start actually celebrating. Put the sparkling water in the champagne glass every morning when you wake up and say, cheers to the universe. I am celebrating my wealth and celebrating my heart of gold, and that this is done. And so even just like, take action like that of engagement really can because your mind doesn't know necessarily that it actually hasn't shown up in your bank account yet. You're in the beingness and the doingness of that it has. Does that make sense? Okay, so we have a little bit of background noise. That might be from one of our people. Now, what I would like to do, Scott, was there anything else you wanted to add before we move on?
No, I'm good. I think carry on and go from there.
Okay, great. All right, so what I'd like to do is I did open up the Q&A. There were quite a few people. Well, there were several people that were still on the line.
I used to work on luxury motor yachts, and I was there as crew, sitting alongside billionaires who would be experiencing, say, at one stage we were in Mozambique and we had these whale sharks swim up to the boat, and you could just see these whale sharks moving gracefully and sort of come up to the side of the boat. And I got to see the look of wonderment and amazement on the faces of these billionaires who were paying massive amounts of money to experience that same thing. And that joy and wonderment is available to all of us, and we don't need to spend massive amounts of money to be able to experience that. So from an energetic frequency or a signature pattern, that same joy can be experienced in very different ways without having to have the amounts of wealth that we would traditionally associate with that. So when Deb talks about engaging in the vibration of this wealth, it's actually experiencing, setting up the visualizations, going and taking an actual action, and not just thinking about it. This is the engagement part about it, of getting off your backside and going and thinking about something that brings you joy can have you experience that vibration of wealth, happiness, to be able to go out into the world and do the things that we're wanting to do with the project funding, to be able to help and assist humanity. It might be something as simple as going to a fair that has, or a dog show or something like that, and you're surrounded by a whole heap of dogs and puppies. I think that would put a smile on just about everyone's face, except those who can't really stand dogs. But you get where I'm going. So it's really looking at the ways to engage with that frequency and the energetic signature of that vibration and embodying. And then suddenly your heart starts broadcasting that frequency. Has that covered it all there, Deb, or did you want to add any more?
I think that covers it fabulously. I'm sorry, I'm actually the one that pushed the button for the Q&A session. I didn't realize it was going to have a recording. And I just want to reiterate, and somebody's got us on one of our people. We can hear ourselves, so if you could mute your computer. One of the things that is, just to reiterate what Scott is saying, is it can be, he said it can be, it's like a catch-22. It can be incredibly challenging when you are, especially so many people have been sitting around waiting for this for so long and disengaged with the regular things that you would be doing if you didn't even know anything about this GCR. And if that relates to you, then, and if you are sitting, or if you are in an experience, I guess I did have more to say, right? If you're in an experience where you're barely making ends meet, or you're just making ends meet, and you're not, and that's what I call existing, not really thriving, then it's what Scott is talking about. It's that 100 times so important for you to disengage from the waiting energy and go and engage with things every day. Do something. I had mentioned on one of my shows, all right, and then also Patty, who many of you guys know as Nana.
Hello, everyone. So happy and honored to be here and excited that we're going to get this done.
Awesome. All right, I just got a Skype message from Heather. She's saying I'm here. So, Heather, we couldn't hear you. Do you want to try again? Still can't hear you. All right, so I'm just going to let you know she's here. She just Skyped. So there might be a mic issue. And, yep, she just Skyped again saying, All right, so we know we're in communication. You know she's here. And Nadia is here as well. Nadia, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody.
All right, great. And let's see. Can Jennifer, can you make sure that Heather has the actual correct code?
Sure.
That might be the issue.
No problem.
Okay. All right. So if you guys remember yesterday, we were in Halloween here in the United States, and where we left off in our activation was some transmuting of energies. Within the activation, there was some transmuting of energies of anything that could obstruct the GCR from any type of black magic or ritual or ceremony that may have been done by anyone that really doesn't want humanity to evolve. So I just wanted to present that, and that we are overcompensating all of that with our hearts of gold and with our love and our vibration aligned with wealth. So, Scott, do you want to pick it up from there?
Yeah. the main thing I wanted to cover was regards to potential questions that might come up relating to how do you experience this vibration of wealth without going and buying a luxury trip or a cruise or buying a new Ferrari or that sort of stuff. How do you engage with that frequency and vibration of wealth without actually having it? And it's almost like a paradox or a catch-22 scenario where a lot of people think, well, to engage in this vibration of wealth, I've got to have it. And what I wanted to cover was it doesn't matter the magnitude of the wealth that you engage in, as in, like, you don't need to go and book a 24-day cruise around the world and get a luxury suite and first-class airfares and limos and all of that sort of stuff. It's not about the actual tangibility of the wealth, rather the frequency. So, for example, if you find that there's a little picnic spot where you live that's quite beautiful, out in nature, you might be under a tree, some flowers blossoming, whatever brings you joy, something that is as simple as that of taking a rug from the home and setting up a little picnic, some paper napkins, some water, some bread, whatever. It can be really simple, but engaging in something that brings you joy and taking a moment to experience a heart's desire, however that may be for you. I mean, some people can't stand going on a picnic, so pick something that is actually enjoyable. And the reason I say this as well, I can give an example from years ago when
creating and anchoring a new earth reality, and that the revaluation of these currencies and all of the different things that go along with this scenario, this situation, this global impactful situation, is also a revaluation of self and self-worth of wealth based on your heart, the purity of your heart, and not associated with what's in your bank account or what's not in your bank account. So let's rock and roll. I want to introduce, again, we have our 7 people who are holding this field very, very powerfully. The field, this unified field, and holding space with you and also for you. Because as we are generating these vibration of creation energies, there is the potential for a lot of interference and infiltration. And so it's also, as we hold space for somebody, it's another way of even what some people would be familiar with would be saying prayer for somebody. But as we hold space together, we are actually holding the space for a possibility that then can be moved into a probability. And that probability is clearly set with intention as well as action and doing this, aligned with beingness, and then we move it into reality. So it's really a couple of different steps. And so that is part of what we're doing right now, is we are collectively unifying, holding the space for this global currency reset as well as this new earth reality anchoring. Okay, so I would like to introduce, Scott is back on the line. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah, hi everyone.
And so as you guys probably know, Scott is over in Sydney, and I have come over to the U.S. I'm over in LA, so we are not physically together, and energetically we are, and we are also bridging this unified field that we've been activating for the last couple of years. So, and we're going to start off today. Scott's got some things he wants to share that are coming over from yesterday's call as well. All right, so we also have Helen is here.
Hi, everybody. How are you? I am thrilled again to be here and bring on the GCR. Thanks, Debs and Scott.
Woohoo!
Yes.
All right, and we also have Roberta.
I'm glad and honored to be here and holding this field for all this GCR and all the changes coming.
Awesome. And then we also have Sue, Country Gal.
Hello, everybody. I'm just excited to be here and also honored to be part of this.
Awesome. Thank you. And Jan is back with us.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be back.
And then here with me in LA is Heather. Okay, is Heather here? Okay, so there might be a mic issue. So Heather, if you want to jump on and let us know if you're there or that we can actually hear you.